Hello, this is Sergio Fuentes, aka Targeted Tommy, and I'm here walking along the Hop River Riverwalk in Columbia, Connecticut. And this is my first live video. And I figured I'd start doing some lives once in a while. And today, I want to share with you a bit of wisdom I received about a month after my targeting went overt. And it just so happened to be the first TI I spoke to. First legitimate TI. As we know, there are lots of perps pretending to be TIs. And this person told me, you have to accept what's happening. You have to understand there's nothing you could do about it. Wherever you go, you're going to be filmed, which turned out to be true. You're going to be followed. You're going to be harassed. And the key to surviving all this is understanding that they cannot take your joy away. You have control over the joy in your heart. And she's right. Wherever I go, I get filmed, stalked, harassed, one-lighters, paper plates, Texas plates. I get a lot of that. And Florida plates. Texas and Florida. A few days ago, I traveled from Connecticut to New Hampshire. And sure enough, twice I had Texas plates following me. And one Florida plate. Both directions. And what I've noticed, for whatever reason, perhaps someone can make heads or tails of this, what I noticed is the license plates always have an M, as in mom, and an H, if they're from Texas. Florida plates always have a K, whatever that means. So, regarding not allowing these people to rob you of your joy, I've come up with a few things I do. For instance, when I go into any retail store, whether it's the supermarket, a liquor store, a gas station, a convenience store, the perps like to call me boss. They say, how you doing, boss? How's your day going, boss? Is that it for you today, boss? That'll be $12.36, boss. Thank you, boss. Here's your change, boss. Have a good day, boss. Then they do the obligatory head scratch. So what I began doing a while back is I beat them to the punch. As soon as I walk in, I say, hey, boss, how you doing, boss? How's your day going, boss? Then I go about my business in the store. And while I'm paying, I just keep scratching my head. Have some fun with it. Don't let the perps, these satanic perps, get you down. When I was in New Hampshire, I stopped to get some gas before I drove back to Connecticut. And I wanted a receipt, and the pump did not provide a receipt. The message was, to go see the clerk inside and get my receipt. So I walk in. As soon as I walk in, I see the clerk pick up his phone, look at his phone for a brief moment, and put the phone down. And he got the drop on me. He called me boss before I called him boss. Said, "What can I do for you, boss?" And I said, "I need my receipt, boss." And he said, "What pump, boss?" And I told him the pump number. "Pump 7, boss." And he gave me the receipt, said, "Here you go, boss." I said, "Thank you, boss." Then he started scratching his head. So I said to him, I said, "You may not have followed your instructions correctly." And he said, "What do you mean, boss?" And I said, "Well, you called me boss before you scratched your head. Might want to check that phone notification. I think you're supposed to scratch your head and call me boss first. Or, I'm sorry, scratch your head and call me boss second. Boss? Okay, boss, have a good day, boss." And he kind of had a dumbfounded look on his face. He was a bit taken aback, judging by his expression. I don't think he expected for me to be so passively aggressive. But I was. So that's what I do now. I confront them. And if you look at my channel, I have what I think is a pretty good video. I took a TI friend, to a dispensary in Massachusetts, and I waited outside, and I caught one of the security guard filming me. And so I pulled out my camera to begin filming him. As soon as he saw me pull out my camera, he put his camera back in his pocket, his phone camera. But I kept filming him. And just kept the film going until my friend came back out. Then he got in the car, and before I drove off, I pulled up to the perp, and I tried to recruit him. You have to watch the video. I think it was pretty clever. And I pretended that I was a gang stalker recruiter. And I asked him if he loves his country, and if he wants to keep his community safe, and he can get paid in gift cards and cash. And he played the game. Didn't know what I was talking about. Told me he was too busy. I explained to him it's the Patriot Act, and if he loves his country, he ought to consider signing up. And before I left, I said, "I'll be back. Let me know if you change your mind. We're always looking for a few good, useful idiots." He didn't like that too much. But I had a blast. So that's what I do. I go on the offensive with these people. And it's good for the spirit. It's good for the mind. It's good for the mental health. And it's good for the soul. So check out that video on my channel, Sergio Fuentes. Guy's got a goofy look on his face. He's a white dude. Got his hat on backwards. He's got a security guard vest on. So today I bring my dog, Flower Power, to the Hop River Walk, which I do often. They like to leave little gifts for me here, the perps. Of course, I'm being followed. So today I come from this direction here. Had a small chat with the guy at the bench. Looked kind of perpy, but he didn't scratch his head or call me boss. Then I went on my way down that way. Passed a few people on the walk. And when I come back this way, about 20 minutes later, perps left me a calling card. Come over here to sit at the bench, and I see this business card here. Notice the Masonic black and white checkerboard and the demonic photo, bleeding black ink. black and gray artist and the satanic symbolism. So I figured I'd share that, and that's what they like to do to me. But it doesn't bother me because I have joy in my heart. That was the best advice I ever received, and ironically, it was the very first TI I ever spoke to. It's when I was living in Las Vegas, which I don't recommend any TI go to. That place is Sodom and Gomorrah. It is the pit of hell. Lots of people on meth there. It's the Walking Dead. But at any rate, that's where my stalking went overt. Start doing some research. Come across a website that had TIs listed on there. Come to find out over time, some were perps. Of course, lots of perps pretending to be TIs. And of course, a few legitimate TIs. And as I mentioned, the very first TI I spoke to was a lady who lived in Reno, Nevada. And she was very kind. We spoke nightly for about an hour or so, for about 2 weeks. And then something odd happened. She began telling me that she's really nervous and she thinks that something bad's going to happen to her. She doesn't feel safe. She has a roommate that's perping her and gaslighting her. And she's not too sure what's going to happen. So after about 2 weeks of talking every night, I call up and this lady doesn't answer her phone. Her roommate answers the phone. And I asked for my TI friend, and I'm told that by the roommate that she hasn't seen her. She just disappeared, but she left her phone behind. So I said, okay, thank you. And I called up again the next night. Roommate answered again. Haven't seen her. She hasn't come back for her phone. Called back the third night, same story. Called back the fourth night, same story. And I thought to myself, this isn't good. Something must have happened to her. She had good instinct about herself. And that was the end of that relationship between she and I. And of course, as TIs, we know from time to time a TI gets disappeared or murdered. So I hope nothing ever happened to her. But she was the best thing that happened to me. First TI I ever spoke to. What great advice. You can't hide from the perps. They're going to stalk you, harass you, target you, film you, follow you, one headlight you, have hand gestures to mess with your mental health. But remember, she told me, they cannot steal your joy. And I didn't practice that at first. I was very freaked out when my stalking went overt. For well over a year, as most TIs do, I began doing research essentially nonstop during my free time, learning more and more about the program, getting more and more freaked out. This was in 2019. Probably for almost 2 years I was in that state of mind. And then I stopped polluting my mind with all the negativity, and I went back to what this lady told me. They can't steal your joy. You have to be strong mentally. And so it's been well over a year now where I've had that mindset. It doesn't bother me. It really doesn't. And it's been about 6 months or so where I've become aggressive is a tough word to use. I don't think it's the proper word. And confrontational, that's not a good word either. Maybe passive aggressive. But as I mentioned, call them boss before they call me boss, scratch their head before they scratch their head. When I have oncoming traffic, when I'm on the highway, not the interstate, but like a country road, and I see the one headlighter, I'll flash my lights at them and wave as they go by. And it helps. It helps a lot. I don't believe there's any end to this program. I wish Targeted Justice the best of luck. Sincerely. I don't think they're going to be successful. I'm hopeful. Well, there's some George Orwell. 1 + 1 = 3. I hope they're successful, but I'm not hopeful. I hope the program ends, but I'm not hopeful. And I'd like to hear what some of you think, of course. I'm trying to figure out how to do this live chat. I don't see anything coming up, probably because nobody's watching. But as I go on my walks, I'll do more live chats. So this is Columbia, Connecticut. And this is the Hop River. So my message today to my fellow TIs is consider what I said. Don't let the man get you down. Whatever they do to you, do right back to them. One more thing. Another thing, I don't want to call them perps. We all know about the fusion centers, and one TI explained to me when we make a phone call, it's routed through the fusion center, whether I call Amazon.com or I call my bank or one of my credit card companies. Doesn't matter who I call. They end the conversation with, stay safe. So what I do when I call and they say, thank you for calling Amazon. My name is Brady. How can I help you? I say, hey, Brady. My name is Targeted Tommy. How are you doing today, Brady? And of course, they say, fine, thank you for asking. And rarely will they ask me how I'm doing. If they do ask me how I'm doing, right away I say, I'm staying safe. If they don't ask me how I'm doing, I say to them, hey, thanks for asking. I'm staying safe. I hope you're staying safe. And whenever they put me on hold, we need to put you on a brief hold, if that's okay. I say, sure, that's fine. I'll stay safe. No problem. I'll be safe. And of course, the brief hold is always minutes and minutes and minutes. I'm sure a lot of TIs experience that. Minutes and minutes. And when they come back and say, thank you for holding, I say, no problem. I'm safe. So my point is, I have fun with it. I have fun. So let's see. Normally, when I come out of my walk, I'll have usually a Jeep vehicle and or a police officer. There's no police officers here today, but there is a white Jeep over yonder. So I hope to provide some encouragement to the TIs who are unsettled by what they're going through. Stay strong. Don't let them get you down. Don't let them get you down. They can take your privacy. They could stalk you. They could film you. But remember, as my TI friend told me, they cannot rob you of your joy. We control the joy in our heart. So I wish all my fellow TIs a very pleasant, happy, joyful, blessed day today. And I'll be back and talk to you soon. I think I'm going to start filming my walks regularly. Have a great day.